Once again to the mayor's weekly press conference. I don't know if you've been out and about. If you have, you know that it's a little bit cooler today than it had been. Unseasonably warm, like 25% warmer over the past few weeks, where it's just not the norm. But that all said, I've got Kyle with me to again give the weekly weather updates.
So today it's going to be mostly sunny skies, high of 38 degrees, low of 20. Tomorrow, mostly cloudy skies, high of 51, low of 44. Friday, showers, high of 60, low of 55. Saturday, rainy conditions, high of 73, low of 42. Sunday, partly cloudy skies, high of 48, low of 36. Monday, mostly cloudy skies, high of 39. High 54, low of 39. Tuesday, morning showers, high of 58, low of 40. And next Wednesday, showers, high of 56, low of 36.
Well, there you have it. And just a quick sports update for anyone who's watching. It was had a big bowl game last weekend.
In Boise for the OU football team.
And what was you remember the score?
30
on that
to 21.
30 to 21. So this is the third consecutive year of the Ohio University Bobcats football team walking away with a bowl game trophy.
Yep.
And you were at a game last night as well.
Yeah, the basketball game.
Yeah. And there's a big game coming up. There's a big game coming up this Monday night, the 13th of January. The game starts at 8 o'clock.
8 o'clock.
And that game is between whom and whom for the national championship?
Clemson versus LSU.
Clemson, LSU, and we all know who plays for LSU. As a matter of fact, we all know who kind of leads that team forward, and that would be Joe Burrow. Yeah, Joe Burrow is doing a phenomenal job. For anyone who watched the game between Oklahoma and LSU, it was just a resounding win by Joe Burrow. Just to watch that young man play is just unbelievable.
It's unbelievable. He's good.
He is good. All right, things going on around the city. I'm going to start off with a boil order. We actually had a couple boil orders in place over the past week, at least two that were announced to the public that required boil orders being placed on them with water line issues. We are under a boil order here in the city of Athens on Lamar Drive that is going to expire at 9 o'clock this evening, 9 p.m. this evening. The south side Lamar Drive area has a boil advisory in place. And to remind people, a boil advisory is a precautionary boil order that we send out to everyone. And that boil order is in place to ensure that when the water pressure goes below a certain level in the water system, whether it's on a city block or if it's a little bit more widespread than just a city block or two or several, then we will issue that boil order just to make sure that everything is safe over the course of 24 hours, sometimes longer, depending on how long it takes to repair a section of the water system that may have been compromised. But I think Ryan is going to queue up for us to watch a public service announcement that the government channel has put together so that people understand how they can get these boil order alerts through our Nixle system or through Nixle. I typically try to push them out as soon as I get them through Facebook, but that's only people that are friends, have friended me using Facebook, and that's just one way that we can get the reach out there. But this Nixle is really simple. So, Ryan, if you want to cue it up and let people sit back and watch, again, this 4-minute segment on how to be tied into the system to get the notifications as to when we have boil orders and other alerts that happen throughout the city.
If you live in the city of Athens, you may have recently been alerted that your street is under a boil order. But what exactly is a boil order? The Ohio Environmental Protection Agency recommends public water suppliers issue a boil order anytime the pressure in the water distribution system drops below 20 psi and the system is compromised due to a water main break, local flooding, structural fires, or even regular operational maintenance. Extreme care is taken to ensure that water does not become contaminated, and workers act quickly to fix any problems. Here to tell us about the work that goes on during a boil order is the water plant manager, Sean Beasley.
Boil orders are really precautionary. The procedure that we use is after repairs are made, a lot of times the water crew will make repairs to the water line while it's still pressurized. And if that's the case, then they can make a repair and determine that no boil order is needed. And they'll do that quite often. If they need to valve the water off to reduce pressure for safety or a number of reasons, if they need to close valves, basically shut the water off to make the repair, that's a situation where the boil order is required. And typically, you come collect a sample, which our lab tech does, and they work on East Park Drive over by the new city pool. And the new procedure they use takes about 26 hours by the time they start the test till they get the results the next day. And let's say 99% of the time that result is going to come back negative for bacteria, which is good. That's what we expect.
Based on careful analysis by water system personnel, boil orders are only issued for specific areas and usually for no longer than 24 hours. Beasley says that most boil orders are precautionary as pressure is usually restored quickly. However, it takes a full day to have water tested for contaminants such as coliform bacteria.
Technically, if you read the book definition of a boil order, you're not even required to issue one until a sample would come back positive on the following day. That doesn't really make a lot of sense. If you wait until the following day, people could be drinking contaminated water if you waited for the results to come back. So we go ahead and we issue the precautionary boil order, tell people to boil their water or don't drink it, and then once the results come back, then everything is cleared.
The City of Athens automatically lifts its boil orders at the 24-hour mark if the test comes back that no contaminant is present. If you're under a boil order, you should boil all water meant for consumption, whether that be for cooking, drinking, brushing your teeth, or even making coffee. And it should be noted that coffee makers do not bring water to a full boil during the brewing process. The water should be brought to a boil for a full 3 minutes before it is used. If you happen to not have access to a stove or other heat source, you can safely disinfect water by using tiny amounts of chlorine bleach. And by tiny amounts, I mean about 1 teaspoon per 5 gallons of water. Once the bleach is applied, allow the water to sit for about 30 minutes before consumption. You should also turn off the water to your ice maker while the boil order is in effect and throw out any ice made during that time. And finally, please be cautious around boiling water as it is very hot and it can scald you. If you have more questions about boil orders, please check out the city's website, and if you need to know more about boil orders in your area, call the boil order hotline at 740-594-5078. All of this information on boil orders is very important, but it doesn't matter if you don't know when there's a boil order. The City of Athens now exclusively uses the Nixle service to send out emergency information. To stay informed of alerts, advisories, and community events, you can subscribe to Athens through Nixle. You can sign up for Nixle on the city's website by clicking the orange dot with an X through it. This will take you to a sign-up page where you will be asked to give either your phone number or your email or both. Once you've signed up, you can choose what sorts of things you would like to be notified of by going to the Settings tab. Under the Settings tab, you will notice different boxes that can be checked off, which correspond to the different notices you can receive. You can sign up for Nixle by using your mobile device to text your area code to 888-777. Signing up through text message will sign you up for every notification offered. You can later adjust your settings to your preference online.
I would highly recommend everyone just going to the city's website, downloading the information or applying to get on the Nixle system, Nixle. It will also include, as I mentioned before we went into that segment, it also will alert you to other things going on. It'll alert you to street closures. It'll alert you to weather events, a number of different things. So, I just encourage everyone to go ahead and sign up for Nixle. I believe under that system, you can also limit the alerts that you do want to receive so that you don't get everything. Or you can click on everything, depending on the level of information that you want coming at you. So things like my next few items up here, street closures, they would show up under the Nixle system. The Merkel Street closure, which is underway through the end of today. By 4 p.m. this afternoon, Merkel Street will be done. There was some maintenance being done up there where they had to remove the brick and put the brick back in. It was brick repair. Fort Street, gas line replacement. It's a gas main replacement up there. That's a longer project. That'll be 3 to 4 weeks to get that done. That particular replacement is, as I mentioned, on Fort. I believe it's from Congress, North Congress, on up to roughly 44 Fort Street in terms of the address. That began Monday. The other gas line or gas main replacement is on Mulligan. That one will be roughly 4 weeks in duration. It also began on Monday the 6th. And for both of these, for Mulligan in particular, emergency traffic will be permitted as well as access to residences will be provided as that work is being done. So know that those two areas, that there is some maintenance being done. And it will take several weeks for that to wrap up. Safe Routes to School program, where we received money for what we're going to put in on Grant Street. It's going to be a sidewalk project. At this point, the project is anticipated being completed in 2020. There's a full set of draft plans for the city project. You can see them on the website, city's website at www.ci.athens.oh.us/310, because it's project 310. Project 310 or 310/projects. So again, www.ci.athens.oh.us/310/projects. So you can see what that project will look like, or at least look at the designs. Arts, Parks, and Recreation, several things going on at the community center. The Ohio University Coaching Education Sports Sampler. This is interesting. It's designed to allow children in the Athens community to try sports, the sports of football, non-contact, basketball, soccer, without having to commit to a program. Children would be able to sign up for one or multiple sports at the community center. Participants will play each sport for about 15 minutes. And the event will last about an hour overall. First through third graders, it will be 3 p.m. And then fourth through sixth graders will be 4 p.m. So this should be a rather interesting time to, again, sample some sports. I've spoken about this before. February 1st at 9 a.m. is the National Girls and Women in Sports Day here in Athens. It's a breakfast of champions. We've got an outstanding lineup of women athletes who will be coming in and talking about their experiences and their leadership in athletics. So it would be well worth coming. You need to call today to get your name on the list to attend that particular event. We're anticipating quite a large number of attendees, so I advise you to register early for that. You can register by calling 592-3325 and get your name on the list. Registration is also open now for Unified Recreational Basketball League, co-ed ages 16 and up, March 17th through April 16th, so March 17th through April 16th. Tuesdays and Thursdays at either 5:30 p.m. or 6:30 p.m., 1 hour per night. It's $20 per person. Again, it's co-ed, ages 16 on up. Unified Basketball joins people with and without intellectual people of all abilities, let me just put it that way, to play on the same team. So keep that in mind if you want to be involved in the co-ed basketball. Tiny Tumblers classes, ages 3 to 5, will be moving to Mondays. Our Tiny Tumblers class for children aged 3 to 5 will be moving to Mondays. Registration is now open for the winter sessions that will begin January 13th, which is next Monday. Classes will be held Mondays from 1 to 2, January 13th through February 10th. And that is $25 per registrant, per child. The last thing that I have is actually two last things. One is the project prospectus and selection criteria for our Poet Laureate. We extended the deadline for the Poet Laureate for our 2020 Poet Laureate. Poet Laureates serve 2 years, one term for 2 years. So the deadline has been pushed to January 10th at 5 p.m. You can go to the city's website and download the document for applying for that. It's great. Carrie Gunther Seymour is our outgoing Poet Laureate who actually just completed a book and had a book release. She was the editor of a book called Essentially Athens, which is filled full of poems. It also has images in the book where the images are our traffic outside the box, our traffic control wraps that are on a number of our traffic control boxes throughout the city. So it was a wonderful book, but again, it was our Poet Laureate that kind of took the lead in having that happen, as well as several poems. I don't know if you knew this, Kyle, but she also had a poem that she recently wrote about Joe Burrow. It's a wonderful poem that is out there. I think that we should probably get that up on our city's website since she is our Poet Laureate, if it isn't on there already. So keep that in mind, January 10th, 5 p.m. to apply for the city's third Poet Laureate position, third consecutive. The other item that I have, arts related, is Athens Arts Outside the Box. Speaking of traffic control wraps, putting the graphics, your art on the traffic boxes. The deadline for that has been extended to January 31st at 5 p.m. by AMAC, the Athens Municipal Arts Council. As I said, that's the 31st of January. And again, you can probably go to the city's website and download more information regarding how to go about sending in your art, whether it's paintings or photographic art. They're looking for high-res images to be submitted to them, and they will be juried by a subcommittee that reviews them, judges them, and then picks 10 new pieces of art that will be transferred onto adhesive vinyl and put on 10 more traffic control boxes throughout the city. And then I believe this evening, if I'm not mistaken, speaking of AMAC will be shifting its location, which has typically been in Arts West. The meeting will be here this evening in council chambers as opposed to in AMAC. So if anyone out there typically attends that meeting and has attended it at Arts West, again, it will be up here in council chambers this evening. So just bear that in mind with AMAC as AMAC moves forward. Other than that, hopefully you will tune in again next week for the next installment of the Mayor's Weekly Press Conference. Take care.